Just waiting for it to say it's live on Facebook.
It says it on my side.
Okay. Good evening. Shyla Webb here, education consultant. I am so lucky to be here with Tim Ringgold. He is a music therapist and he has come to talk to us about reducing stress using the gift of music. He is also a columnist, an author, and host of a podcast, Reduce Your Stress. He has provided music therapy to thousands of teens and adults to help them lower their anxiety and reduce pain. Tim is also an award-winning and international speaker, having shared the stage with some of the top minds on music, the brain, and personal development, including Tony Robbins. Tim was the first person to give a TEDx talk on music therapy in 2012, and Tim is also a former regional president of the American Music Therapy Association. Thank you so much, Tim, for taking time out of your evening to be here with us and teach us all the wonderful things you know, or at
It's
least a
really
little piece of them.
it's really great to be with you, Shyla. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, so great to be here with you all and wherever you are. And just from the tech side, just so we all understand what's happening in real time, if you have questions or comments along the way, Shyla can see the chat, but I can't. And she's going to kind of be the MC here and will relay anything along to me. I'm going to kind of roll through a fun, what we might call edutainment experience here with you involving one of your oldest friends, which is music. So, are you ready? Are you ready?
Uh,
So, okay,
I'm ready.
here's what you guys are going to do. So, Shyla, for the next couple of moments, go ahead and hit mute so that you can participate with me and mute yourself. And then everybody who's listening on Facebook, for the next several moments, your job is to either tap, snap, or clap along. Okay. So, darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Won't you stand? Stand by me. Stand by me. So, darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Won't you stand? Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Jazz hands. All right, all right. Now, if we were in the room together, I'd be able to see you raise your hand, but I can't. So I'm just curious. Throw in the chat me if you noticed during that experience, in addition to either tapping or snapping or clapping or just kind of moving along, did you start humming or singing or even singing along in your head? We might call that audiating. Did you just notice in some way you started to engage your voice, either in your head or out loud, along with that experience? Just kind of curious because what I've noticed is if I told people, this happens all the time, if I tell a group like you're going to sing, they're like, oh, oh, no, no, you don't understand. I ain't singing because past, right? But if I just give them the instructions to tap, snap, or clap, what'll always seem to happen is the group will start singing or humming along as if it was just part of their nature, because it is. Ah. See, one of the biggest myths we have in our culture is that there are musicians and non musicians, as if there's two different things. Like the musicians somehow got the music gene or the talent gene. Ooh, yeah, that one really, people love the talent gene. They love that story. Oh, yeah, this one, he's so talented. He's got the music gene. They don't. I'm afraid to break the news to you as the resident clinician on the subject. There's no music gene. It's not that simple. Music's gloriously complex as far as the brain and the body and what is involved. And everybody scratches in perfect rhythm. And all we need to do is put something like a little egg shaker in the way. And suddenly anybody's making music. So you don't need to be a musician to be musical, because from the cellular level to the systems in your body, you are a walking, talking rhythm machine.
So what you're saying is I no longer have an excuse.
Sorry.
I did start getting into it though.
You did. You automatically started moving your body.
Yes.
As soon as I started moving my body, you started moving your body. And that's the very nature of it, is that it's in our body. Rhythm is in our bodies. Right? We walk in rhythm, we talk in rhythm, we chew in rhythm, we breathe in rhythm, we digest in rhythm, we sleep in rhythm, we even scratch and itch in rhythm, right? So you can't escape it. You are a rhythm machine. All your cells, like the fundamental organizing principle of everything that's happening in your body at the same time, is rhythm. It's the conductor. Because if all of you remember, that the biology teachers and the science teachers will get really happy with this, when we all had to study the cell. And there were like all these little subparts of the cell, like the nucleus and the mitochondria, and those are the only two I remember. They're running independently, right, of each other, and there's trillions of them, and they're all somehow working in harmony, in concert, with each other. How? Rhythm. Rhythm is the fundamental organizing principle of well-being. When you have arrhythmia in your heart, it's a clinical diagnosis. It's such a big deal. They open you up, put a box in your chest that electrocutes your heart to get it back into rhythm. And you know what happens when doctors tell patients that that's what they're going to do? The patients go, okay. They are willing to be opened up and have a little pacemaker put in them, because rhythm is life. So it is the fundamental organizing principle and basic building block of your body. And it's the basic building block of music. And as a species, we are a musical species. We've been making music for tens upon tens of thousands of years. So there's a quote from one of our founders named E. Thayer Gaston of music therapy, and that is that rhythm is the energizer and the organizer. And so it's in your body, right? So if you can tap, snap, clap, hum, rap, sing, strum, scratch, you're making music. And I'll show you, like, we overthink this stuff, but it is in each and every one of us. Now, some people dance better than others, right? That's true. That's not rhythm. That is coordination. That's different. Rhythm is just a repeated pattern. A coordination is the combination of repeated patterns. So all of us are rhythmic, which means all of us. Yeah, each and every one of us is musical. And throughout human history, tribes, communities, groups would gather together and make music. And there was no music teacher doling out the parts. If you liked your voice, you sang. If you liked to beat on things, you drummed. And if you liked to shake your body and move your body, you moved your body. And no one told you what to do. You did the part that you felt called drawn to do. And all known cultures have music as a part of their fabric, because music is social glue. It connects us to each other. And so the word that was used throughout history, and many Aboriginal cultures still use a word that basically translates to music dance. It was a verb. So we would music dance. So we just music danced for a little bit. And what you noticed was that when you move your body, moving your body to rhythm is dance. And the reason it was a verb was it's something you did, and you would never make music without moving to it. And you would never move without music. So, or never danced without music. So music dance throughout the fabric of our history as a species is very much in each and every one of our DNA. In fact, the oldest flutes that we have on record are the oldest flute that they have on record is actually a bone flute. It's made out of a bone, and there are little holes drilled into that bone, and it's somewhere roughly 40,000 years old. Now, just to put that in perspective, the like in anthropology, the idea that what showed up in the human experience, the idea that there's one God, monotheism, is like roughly 10 to 12,000 years old. So we've been playing music like 3 times as long, 4 times as long, 5 times as long as that, because creating a flute, that's pretty advanced technology, because you got to drill holes in a hollow object. What? But if you took the bladder of an animal and filled it with some rocks, or you took the animal skin and you put it over a stump and you tied it and then lit a fire next to it to tighten it, that's relatively simple technology by comparison. So I kind of take the beginning of my talk to tell you this story to reconnect you to your own musical heritage. Whoever you are right now listening to my voice, you are musical. And you may have been told a story in our culture, because in our culture, we have stories about music, and they're like narratives. They're not necessarily true. And they're often very disempowering when it comes to music, which is some people have it and most don't. And music's become somewhat of a spectator sport in our culture, where some perform and most spectate, right? We buy tickets, we go to concerts, right? We consume music as opposed to create music. But what throughout most of the human experience, we all made the music together. And so I want to empower you and invite you to allow music to come out of you when it needs to, and tell your kids to talk to the hand if they don't like you singing along, or, like, let it rip. And if you don't feel comfortable singing, that's okay. Play an instrument. And when I say play an instrument, your body is an instrument, right? Right? My son's 9. He has mastered snapping. He's very excited. He'll sit at the dinner table, like, so excited, right? And I'm pretty sure that everybody on this right now, I was going to say this call, we're not on calls anymore, people, is over 9 years old. So I think the snapping thing is pretty good. We probably got that down. And if snapping's not for you, what's called patching or potching is body percussion. You can tap along. That's what your foot does all by itself. Keep in mind, you don't count your foot in to start tapping with music, right? It's not like music is on and then you go, oh, this is a really swell beat. All right, foot, are you ready? Let's get this right this time. 1, 2, ready, go. Like, nobody ever actually consciously counts their foot in. Their foot taps. It's in you. The beats are in your body. So if you're uncomfortable using your voice, use your body. It's there and it's ready and it's waiting. And the nice thing about music, it won't stop playing if you can't keep the beat. It just accepts you where you are. Fall behind the beat, music doesn't care. If you can't remember the words, you botch a lyric, doesn't care. If you're a little pitchy, as Paula used to say on American Idol back in the day, that's a little pitchy. Really, Paula? Coming from a cheerleader? Really? Bitter. If you're a little pitchy, the music doesn't care. See, the music just accepts you exactly where you are. And it doesn't scold you, it doesn't judge you, it doesn't lecture you, which is why teens feel more connected alone in their room with their music than down in the living room with their parents. Because the music just accepts them exactly as the hot mess that they are in that moment. And that's why you remember that's your experience when you were a teen. You loved your music because you felt like seen, heard, felt, gotten. You could identify with it. It accepted you. It brought you into a club. You felt like something bigger than yourself. You were connected to something outside of yourself. So that's that social glue, right? And it's also spiritual glue for those of us who we'll just stay with the idea of spirituality being feeling a connection with something outside of ourself. That's my empirical formula for spirituality, like the mindful act of connecting with something outside of myself. That's what the beat is. The beat is this pulse. It's this thread that you can connect your body to. And the beat doesn't judge you. And the beat doesn't have suggestive lyrics or expletive lyrics. The beat is safe. The beat is always safe. Now, a fast beat will wake you up. Beware. And a slow beat will slow you down. That's true. Your body will automatically respond to the beat. And that's why when you go to a gym and they have like a spin class, that like a torture device that you see people, they get on the device and they start like kneeing themselves over and over. Like, why do they do that? I don't understand it. But when they're on those torture devices, you'll hear the music in there. It's like, it's usually about 130 to 140 beats per minute, which is the target heart rate of your body, of the average like middle-aged adult's body doing a cardio exercise. And so we will use tempo of music to actually upregulate the body so that our perception of work actually, or effort, goes down. So for those of you who remember John Philip Sousa, who's like the famous marching band composer, right? So the march is written at a tempo of roughly 80 to 90 beats per minute, which is the tempo of the human heartbeat when you march.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So we use music as a tool all the time to help us upregulate either our physical body or our mental focus. We use slow tempo music for lullabies, right? As to soothe. And all moms, get this, in all cultures, sing to their babies. And they all sing in the same slow tempo, melismatic, which is kind of like a gentle melody that goes up, down, up, down. They use the same melodic patterns cross-culturally. I think that's really fascinating. And, the kid doesn't understand the words, thank God, because you guys know, your parents, those of you who are parents, when you actually had to like learn the lyrics of like lullabies as adults and you're like, this is terrible. I'm not going to sing this to my baby. And then luckily you're like, oh yeah, all my baby hears is la, 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 la. Thank God, right? Rockabye baby. What? From the treetop when it's terrible, So luckily all the child is entraining to, which means just connecting and syncing up with, is that gentle tempo and that gentle kind of melismatic melody that mom is singing. And then the timbre of mom's voice, right? The color, like mom, ooh, mom, a number one sound in nature, mom's voice, top of the sound hierarchy. So what have we learned so far? What we've learned is that we're all musical. You can't escape rhythm, and that the beat is in your body, and that the beat is safe. And the beat, you can use the beat to speed or upregulate up or down, depending on what you're trying to do. And for many of us as working stiffs, we might use music to help us focus while we're working, which is totally great, and great research on using moderate tempo, 110 beats, 100 to 120 beats per minute music, instrumental music to focus. Because what happens to our brains on music, it's like a fireworks show in there. Music is the most complex stimulus in nature for the human brain to process. So music cognition requires every subregion of the brain to take a piece of the music, break it down, and then communicate that information back, and then larger brain structures reintegrate the music into a whole, form emotion and meaning out of the music, and then compare it to past versions of either that same music or related music to predict where the music's going in the near future. Music is like heavy lifting for the human brain. It's fascinating. So, like
Yeah.
a lot of our work in music therapy, we work with kids with intellectual and developmental disabilities because music turbocharges their brain. So it recruits all, it's like an APB, right? Like all hands on deck kind of thing, like all neural circuits on deck, music. And so all the time I've had instances where I'm working with groups. Suddenly someone stands up and starts singing, and then the staff starts crying. And I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do wrong? They're like, no, you don't understand. We haven't even heard him speak before. And he's singing. Because,
Oh.
yeah, because his brain is turbocharged on music compared to speech. They're related, but distinct, right? So very, very powerful tool to really bring out the best in us. Now let's just talk about it in the context of like chilling out, right? How to chill out. So luckily, the beautiful thing about music is that our nervous system, I want you to think of our nervous system like a 3-speed bike. All right. It's got 3 gears. Think of it like you've got your rest and digest default mode. That's our parasympathetic nervous system. It is our ventral vagal nervous system. It's where we are able to connect and create. It's where the executive functioning is intact. Our prefrontal cortex is online. Hopefully I'm, saying things that make sense to, some of that will make sense to everybody. You're like, yeah, I'm familiar with that. I get that, right? That's our default. That's first gear, right? We're cruising along on our 3-speed. And then a threat occurs and it's perceptual. So it's either internal or it's external, but it's perceptual. What does that mean? That means that the me in me is perceiving there's a threat, and my nervous system activates. It's like the emergency broadcast system. Remember that when we were growing up with the lines, beep, this is a test of the emergency broadcast network, right? The emergency broadcast system in our body, the stress response system, right? Our nervous system changes gears. It activates a whole biochemical change. Our prefrontal cortex gets kicked to shotgun, and our amygdala takes over and goes, I got this. I'll get us out of here. Right? And it either tries to fight or flight, right? We're going to either escape the tiger or we're going to fight the tribe. That's all well and good. All kinds of changes, right? Digestive system changes, blood circulation changes, chemicals in the brain and in the adrenals all get activated in different ways. All appropriate, great, except for the fact that that's only supposed to happen every once in a great while. We're not meant to activate the emergency broadcast system multiple times a day. So many of the chemicals that our body releases appropriately, i.e. one of them being cortisol, which is a stress hormone that allows us to activate in the moment appropriately, our body doesn't break them down quickly because it's not used to having them in the system. But in our 21st century, what are the tigers and the tribes of the 21st century? This phone right here is both a tool and a threat to my very existence, right? I hate technology 6 times a day, and yet it's what's allowing me to connect with you right now. It's a conundrum. There it goes. But we activate that stress response network multiple times a day now. And since 2020, hold my beer, we have like kicked that thing into overdrive. Are you kidding? My goodness. I was just saying to Shyla before we got online, there are these like baselines that we're dealing with of stress this year that we just did not have a year ago, whether it's the COVID medical, global pandemic, or it's the political climate, or it's the social climate, or it's our students and our kids' mental health because of virtual school. Like, we have this baseline of stress that keeps adding up. So we're firing off all these chemicals daily and we're wearing out. And this is what people are starting to notice in their lived experiences. They're wearing out. Here's what's wearing out: your immune system. Because the long-term effect of cortisol running through your body is what's called systemic inflammation. And what systemic inflammation basically means is it's like taking sandpaper and rubbing it on your skin, but from the inside out. So your body becomes inflamed. And what happens to your nervous system is your nervous system wears down. And so you are literally not well as a result of chronic stress. And so the game becomes, well, thanks for the good news, Tim. Really appreciate that. Tales of the Obvious, chapters 1-3. I already read that book. Come on, give me something new. The good news is that music turns off the stress response faster than any oral medication.
Oh, that's interesting. And is it certain types of music then? Like you were talking about the beats and okay, I was
Yes.
curious. You said 110 beats per minute, I
Yep.
think, or per
Yep.
second, sorry. How was it per minute, per second?
Per minute.
Per minute, okay.
Yep.
I am musical. I'm musical in some
Yes, you
form,
are.
as you taught
Yes,
me
you
tonight.
are. It's true.
How do I know if a song that I want to play while I'm working or something like that has that? How do I
Super
find
easy.
that? Where do I find that information?
Well, there's a couple of ways you can do it. So you can listen to music on YouTube where you literally type in the beats per minute in the search feature, like relaxation music, 60 beats per minute, or working music, 110 beats per minute. You can type that in as a search feature. You can
Okay.
also download for free a metronome,
Okay.
and you can literally just tap along with the music and figure out what the tempo is. And you're like, oh, okay, this is good. But mostly you'll get a sense without having to get granular on the numbers. You'll know music that makes you want to run, music that makes you want to work, and music that makes you want to sleep. They're
Gotcha.
kind
So
of,
just listen to our bodies.
yeah. So, I mean, you can like go up here with it, but really stay in here,
Okay.
because this is where this machine that we have in our, particularly for us educators and clinicians, we live, we live so much of our life in, oh wait, I'm trying to do mirror mode here, like in the left half of the tiniest part of our body, right? With this kind of like analytical thought. And what we really want to do is we want to be dialed into the body. The body is going to be incredibly resourceful and it's incredibly wise. And there's this new what would I call it? It's a new division of neuroscience called cardiac neuroscience, where they're actually measuring thought in the heart and in the gut. And they're able to measure it now because they have tools that can actually measure the transmissions, because they're occurring up to 1,000,000 times faster than this old CPU. This is like a 386, and this is like, a Mac Pro, So stay in your body. That's the short answer.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out now how our heart and our gut are second or the third brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that we really should rely a little bit more on the feedback here
Yes.
than what's happening up here.
Yes. What
I've
I
talked
try
a
to,
little bit about it and the neuroscience for educators in the past, but yeah, so if anyone hasn't seen that miniseries, go back and watch it, and it will fill you in on what Tim has been talking about with the neuroscience and our nervous system.
yeah, if you think about like the gut is the first floor of your house, the heart is the second floor, and the brain is the attic. So the gut, first floor, lot of in, a lot of out of the house, right? Hard floors, right? A lot of movement. You don't get invited upstairs into too many people's houses. It's a very intimate, private place. It's softer. And then There's the attic. It's not climate controlled. It's dusty. It's got nails sticking out. It's dark. You can trip. You can, like I go through an attic. I have to wear a hard hat for safety because there's no buffer. And like you want to stay out of that attic, right? And so we were trained as educators and clinicians to like reside in our attic. Like that's where all the answers are. And luckily now we're able to measure through the Western medical model, measure the reality that so many cultures throughout human history, they already knew. And now we're like, turns out centers of thought because we measured it. And the rest of the world's like, glad you caught on board. Good for you. Good for you. That's so good. Good. You get a star. But hey, what are you going to do? That's the culture we live in. We're, it's the fish we swim in. I mean, it's the water we swim in as fish, right? That's culture. So let me kind of share 3 things or 3 ways that you can reach for music to turn that stress off, right? Because now you're kind of like, all right, cool. Music works. What's up? So the first thing to do is you can make it. Now, when I say make it, let's go back to the beginning of the talk. What I don't mean is go to Guitar Center, buy a guitar, go onto YouTube and learn how to play guitar. Although you can, like, cool. In fact, the ukulele is an awesome, easily approachable stringed instrument. It's the most approachable stringed instrument out there. If anyone ever wants to learn a stringed instrument, the first place to start is not the violin. Save yourself and your family and everyone within earshot. Start on the ukulele. It's a much lower barrier to entry. And then if you want to play a wind instrument, you want to play a Native American flute, not a Western European flute. Look, no disrespect to Western European instruments or orchestral instruments, but if you wanted to invent the most expensive, most complicated, hardest to be successful at instruments on the earth, you would invent the Western European orchestral instrument. They are hard, expensive, and time-consuming, and that's where people get so many of the myths about music making, is because they think of it through the lens of our traditional educational model, which is first we're going to bludgeon you with a recorder. Nobody likes the recorder. No. I have a slide of a guy teaching recorder, and he's smiling, and I tell the audience, first of all, he's deaf, because no teacher with 12 students playing the recorder at the same time is smiling, not unless they're wearing earplugs. Come on, let's all be honest, right? I get it. It's useful because it's plastic, right? It's cheap to make and you can wipe it down, but it sounds terrible and it's actually kind of hard to play. You take a Native American flute, 5-hole flute. This one has 6. A lot of times a 6-hole flute will have a piece of leather over it. And you take it and you play a pentatonic scale, which is the 5-note scale, all the black keys on the keyboard. No wrong notes. Much easier to play. Much, much easier to play. Watch this. For the record, I have no idea what notes I'm about to play. I only used one hand.
That sounded nice.
And it sounds pleasant.
Yeah.
I just went 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. I have no idea what I was playing. But the timbre, the color of the Native American flute, the sound, and there's no embouchure to get right on this thing. I just exhale. That's all I do. I just exhale. And it is so much easier to play. So I share this because I started out as a musician before being a music therapist. And when I became a music therapist, I was exposed to all kinds of world and folk instruments that are much easier to play and be successful at and to hear a pleasing sound and enjoy. In fact, for some of my courses, we created a buying guide. Like, here are 10 instruments under $100 that you can play, that are enjoyable. And here's a good entry level one, and then here's like a nice one, but you don't have to spend $5,000 on it, or $2,000 or even 1,000. So make it simply means if you can engage your body with the music that you're either listening to in your head or in your earbuds or through speakers. So just tap along, snap along, clap along, hum along, rap along, sing along, strum along, scratch along. You engage your body along with the music. Here's what happens. Music's time-based. So when is it happening? In the present moment. So your attention has to be in the present moment, or else you'll miss the beat. Mindfulness becomes a byproduct of music making. And for most people, where they get stressed is when they leave the present moment and they go off into the future where they have no control, or they go back into the past where they have no control and they're up in their head. So by making music, it's our body that's engaging in the music. So we have to be in our body, and our body is only ever in one place in time, the present moment. But you don't have to be thinking about all of these kind of esoteric or heady thoughts, you're just playing along with your favorite song. And all of this good stuff's happening as a byproduct, because we don't work music, we play it. You don't hit the work button when you start your favorite song. You hit the play button. So we all already have a really great relationship with the music we love. And so people ask me all the time, what's the right type of music to listen to reduce my stress? And the answer is, it's the music you already enjoy. So research shows over and over and over again, music's very self-referential. So the music I enjoy, it's like flavor. If you like Thai food, you know what you like. If you don't like Thai food, it doesn't matter if someone gives you the best curry out there. You don't like Thai food. And music's the same way. If you don't like hip hop, don't listen to it. If you like hip hop, listen to it. Now, tempo does matter across genres. So fast tempo music will upregulate you. Slow tempo music will downregulate you, meaning slow down your body or speed up your body. But genre is a matter of personal preference, because it's still a subjective aesthetic that you either identify with or you don't. And the good news is you don't have to try anything new, and you don't have to buy anything new. So your music library, you already curate your own musical experience. That's what a playlist is. So even if you're not wanting to make music and you just want to listen to music, that's the second way we can reduce our stress. Create for yourself a power playlist or a relaxation playlist. But we'll talk about the power playlist first. A power playlist is 3 songs that fire you up. Like, for me, it would be like the theme of Rocky, like that. I'm like, I can take on anything. You play the theme of Rocky, I'm just like, yo, Adrian, like for me, right? Like each one of us has our theme to Rocky music that just like, you watch me, you challenge accepted, whatever it is. And it allows you to rise to the occasion. Right? So stress, therefore, then instead of becoming distress, becomes eustress, which is healthy stress that challenges us and strengthens us. And that's how we get strong. That's what weightlifting is called, resistance training, for a reason. So if we turn on empowering, inspiring music, we can turn an adversity into training material to strengthen us. But it's all in how we frame it, and that music will inspire us to take on a challenge rather than run from it. So 3 songs, fire you up.
Okay. So if a teacher listens to their power play every day on the way to work or before the kids come in, is it going to benefit them throughout the day?
Absolutely. Do a little power
Okay.
pose,
Yeah.
right? Little victory pose,
Yeah.
and listen to that favorite song, and your state will shift.
All right.
Yeah, so that's a great cue. So what we want to do is we want to cue up our state and that's what we're doing. We're curating our own state changes through the music that we choose. And we can do this. Yesterday I had to write. So I have a summit next week for how to reduce stress, right? And on the back end of that, I'm running a 90-day coaching program. And I had to write the video script for it. Oh, I did not want to do that. And so I had to think about what's the person's pain point and then what's the transformation. And so I curated my music. I put on like really downer music that I've written before when I'm feeling down to get in touch with those feelings of like feeling bad. And then I turned on there's this song from Avatar from the movie where they're flying through the floating mountains the first time. It's one of the most inspiring songs I've ever heard. So I put that on when I wanted to write about the transformation. Shyla, by the time I was done, I was moved to tears by what I wrote because the music put me into such a state of hope and optimism and like, we got this. If you come hang out with me for 90 days, I am telling you, we got this, right? And I was moved to tears by the end of what I wrote because I'm so passionate that 2021 does not have to be like 2020. And I'm crystal clear about this. We reacted our way through 2020. We survived 2020. We came into 2021 now like, okay, no surprises. I saw you coming. Now it's my turn. Now I'm going to respond and I'm going to create. I'm not just going to keep reacting. And we have that ability to get back on our feet and cause our future. Humans can do that. We just need the right environment, and a power playlist gets you into that mindset. Those 3 songs, if you're feeling stressed out, you put on those 3 songs, you go for a walk. By the time you get back from those 3 songs, your state will be totally different than when you left. And it's an easy sell because it's only 3 songs.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, there are certain songs that no matter what mood I'm in, when they come on the radio or yeah, it just gets me in that state and I just want to sing and I want to dance and
Yes.
definitely, yep, tap along. So
Yeah. So
very
do yourself
powerful.
a favor and take a minute when you're not feeling stressed and think about, look through Spotify or look through your wherever you keep your music, look through there. What are the songs that are your fight songs? They fire you up, and load up a playlist ahead of time so that when that stress strikes, because it's coming, you're ready. And then the last thing is when we need to actually, when the stress is in the present and we want, Calgon, take me away. We just want to escape. Then you want to reach for music that will relax you. But the thing about using relaxation music is you want the music to have a perceptible beat. So you don't want just the spa music where it's like, you want to have music that has a slow tempo that your nervous system can actually entrain to and slow down. So that's a key little stealth piece of information for your relaxation music. For everybody who's going to sign up to go to the Stress Elimination Summit, one of the things that I give away is my Relaxation Vacation, which is this 15-minute relaxation that I've been doing for 12 years with thousands of clients, where I walk them to a moment in their past that was just a mountaintop moment. They experience it like it's there, like they're there, and then they bring those emotions back into the present moment. And so music can allow us to either be powerful in the present moment, or it can allow us to leave the present moment if we need to, go somewhere safe, and then come back strong. But the problem with when we're stressed is oftentimes when we try to escape, it's down the rabbit hole of Netflix or YouTube or a video game, right? For any of us, or social media, right? We start doom scrolling. And then like 2 hours go by and the kids are hungry and you up past your bedtime because you couldn't resist the next episode of your favorite show because they got you hooked, because they know exactly how to toy with your emotions. They do it to me every week with my favorite show, which shall remain nameless, but I get it. Man, walking away from your favorite show when there's 4 seasons waiting for you in Netflix, that is an act of courage. I'm just going to say, I feel that.
Absolutely.
So, as you could tell, I could go on forever about this stuff. I'm very passionate about it. I want to respect our time. We're kind of coming up to the amount of time we wanted to spend together. I want to just share briefly about what I'm hosting next week.
Yeah, please.
It's a free event online. So we're on Facebook right now. This event is on Facebook next week. It's called the Stress Elimination Summit Recovery Edition. And it's for busy working professionals who either know that they're working a recovery journey, like they got hooked on something at some point in their life and then they made a decision to stop doing that thing, whatever it was, and they're trying to stay away from that thing. Or it's for people who don't necessarily want to identify that way. But here's the thing: everybody reaches for something when they get stressed. That's the design of the nervous system. It's to self-soothe. And maybe it's beer, wine, or worse, but for most people, it's just their fridge or their pantry or their phone or the Netflix button. So what this summit is doing is it's allowing people to see through 30 experts how to complete the hurts from my past that keep re-triggering me, how to create a future rather than just keep reacting along the way, and then how to conduct myself on a daily basis so that I become more stress resilient. So that when I can see it coming, almost like Matrix time, like I can see that stress coming, and now I know what I'm going to do. And I'm doing things on a daily basis in little tiny increments that keep me and my nervous system and my immune system healthy. So it's Monday through Friday from 10 to noon Pacific, and on Facebook. And so if you register for free, you just go to register, you just go to stresseliminationsummit.com. And if you could throw that in the chat, that way it's just a link. People can click on it.
Yeah, I'll do
They
that.
can attend this free event. And my goal for you is that you feel empowered to take on 2021. Because you know what it's like. If you feel empowered, you're like, bring it. But if you don't feel empowered, you're like, run.
Yeah.
And we all had a healthy dose of that in 2020. We all kind of shake it off, and okay, how do we want 2021 to go? Do you want to keep reacting or do you want to create?
Definitely want to create. So it sounds like this summit will allow me to work through everything that built up over 2020 and all the experiences that I had and all the curveballs that were thrown my way and may have even traumatized me in some sense. And sometimes we don't even know that trauma is there until many months afterwards. So would you say that the speakers and the activities that we go through would allow me to recognize what's there even if I haven't had a chance to sit with myself and be in that
Yeah, I think
and
we
then
have
work through
like
it?
9 speakers just talking about trauma in 9 different ways.
Awesome.
So that's
Yeah.
like that, because a lot of us don't even want to admit that trauma is in our rearview mirror. And then if we do, it's like, well, I don't want to go near it. That doesn't sound like fun. But the event is like a buffet. So you're going to be exposed to lots of different approaches to those 3 ways, completing the past, conducting the present, and creating the future. And some of them you're going to be like, oh, hell no. But then the magic is that something's going to come along and you're going to go, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that. And when you have that buy-in from your own little brain and you have that ounce of willingness, that's when change happens.
That sounds powerful. And if I'm working during the day, would I be able to catch a replay in that group?
Yeah, so the way that works is that the speakers talks, they're like 15-minute TED style talks, are there that day. And then they go away at like midnight. And then the next day they're there all day. But we have a VIP program, which is there's a modest, it's like $67 if you sign up for VIP when you register. You'll get forever access to what we call our Summit Vault. So you'll get all 30 speakers' talks. You'll get a bunch of bonuses, including courses and ebooks, all kinds of different things that the speakers have donated to the Summit Vault. And we're running the summit actually in Zoom webinar and then pushing it into Facebook. And those who are in VIP get the Zoom webinar link, and they're the ones who get to ask all the speakers questions. So you kind of get VIP access to the speakers, and then you don't have to worry about like, oh my God, Dave Asprey is going to be on Friday at this time in the morning, and I'm teaching a class. Rats! Don't sweat it. You'll have time to watch it over the weekend. So, or next week or next month, because that's the beauty of having forever access to the Summit Vault.
Oh, it sounds amazing. Well, I'll be sure to put that link in the chat so that everyone can access it, anyone that needs to. And then, if you don't mind, I'll even do another post here in the group so that people that don't come in and watch this talk, they can at least be notified about this summit. I think we
Awesome.
can all benefit from a reset right now.
Yes.
It's been a heavy year, and I'm ready
It's
to
been,
unload that emotional
yeah,
backpack of
it is.
mine.
Everyone just keeps saying to me, they're like, boy, this is timely. And I was
Yeah.
like, we threw one in July. We thought that one was the timely one. And then we were like, that was fun. Let's do it again. Let's do one in January and then we'll do one next August. But we didn't think it was going to be like worse. And we thought July was bad enough, you know what I mean? So we feel of service. Like we
Yeah.
just feel like we're doing the right thing for the right reasons at the right time, and kind of it feels good to be of service like that.
Yeah, and thank you so much for all the work that you do and the amazing talks that you give all around. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you. I totally drank water at the wrong moment there. That was very awkward.
No, it's
But
okay.
thank you, Shyla. I really appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who is watching. If you're catching the replay, let us know. If you did catch the live, please let us know. I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning. If you have any comments or questions, let us know. Put them in the chat box. As past mini series, I will always go back and answer them. And if the question is directly for Tim, I will be sure to get that question to Tim or connect you directly with him so that he can answer that question for you. Thank you everyone again for watching. Even if you're watching the replay, I really appreciate you taking out time for yourself in this Facebook group and doing the work that you need to do so that you can thrive rather than survive.
Amen.
All right, we'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye. Give me 1 second.